You have been overstimulated. You have been conditioned to being the way you are right now, not purely 100% out of your responsibility. Now, I would be lying if you being responsible and taking responsibility for your actions isn't the only factor that is actually important here. But the fact that your environment has conditioned you to fail and to be out of shape isn't something that I will neglect either. Now in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what it is that your environment is conditioning you to do and the actions you have to take to be able to put this into your responsibility and actually be able to make a difference and make a change. So I today watched a video from Brian Johnson. You may know him as a man who was trying to live for the longest time. All right. He took out the phrase of YOLO. He said, it's not you only live once, it's you only die once, something of the sort, right? Or you cannot die, something along the lines. He gave a video on the 8 steps for you to lock in, for you to benefit your health, for you to do this and that. And he gave you 8 steps, but it created so much distance. And that is one of the forms that takes you back to overstimulation and to comfort. People saying, oh, you need to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, right? You need to eat properly. You need to take care of your environment. You need to take care of your gym, of your cardio. You need to take care of your family. You need to take care of your social life. You need to take care of your sleep. You need to take care of your blue light exposure, of how much meat you eat, of how many carbs you eat. People stacking up things that you need to do isn't going to actively help you reach a result. People telling you that you have to take 10,000 different courses of action to be able to be where you want to be isn't going to create someone that is actually going to actively change. It is going to distance you from your result. Now, there are 2 types of people in this occasion. All right, there's going to be one person that is going to look at it and be like, okay, fuck it, I'm locked in, I'm going to do it. And there's going to be the second person that still wants to change, hasn't built that discipline, hasn't built that mentality, and is going to look at that as an overwhelming amount of action to take, and is not going to be able to stick to anything. When people tell you that you have to stack so much action that it takes all of these things, it is overwhelming. You're thinking of a 1 whole year progress in a 16-minute video telling you that you have to fix 8 different aspects of your life that don't take 16 minutes to fix, that don't take 1 month to fix, that have to, each of its own, have to be focused on properly, and then, only then can you focus on the next one and add on, rather than trying to balance everything at the same time, overwhelm yourself, overwork yourself, and fail. So let me tell you exactly, in this case, how your environment is failing you and causing overstimulation and not allowing you to actually build discipline, real accomplishment, and forcing you to be out of shape. There's 3 different things with this. It has to do with your nutrition, with your lifestyle environment, and with your motivation. Let me explain to you firstly for your nutrition. If you think about it, we have different aspects of our nutrition, different senses in our nutrition. You have your palate, which is going to be determined by if something is soft, if it is crunchy, if it is hard, if something is chewy, rubbery. Then it's also going to be if something is salty, sweet, acid, bitter. Then you're going to have something that's hot or it's cold, or it's fluffy, or it's creamy, or it has texture, or it's, so there's a lot of different things to compare when it comes to nutrition, all right? And the way that the industry has conditioned you is by over-processing everything. Now, what I mean by this is, think of an Oreo. You have an Oreo which, A, color-wise, has 2 contrasting colors, black or dark brown and white, all right? And if you think of the texture, right, you have the cookie itself, which the cookie is crunchy and dry, and also kind of like, what's it called? It like decompartmentalizes in your mouth, all right? Has a little bit of salt, it's not too sweet, right? And then you have the inside that's creamy, white, sweet, sugary, it's nice. And you have the contrast of these 2 different textures, very opposite textures and very opposite tastes, which is the little bit of salt that comes in the cookie and the sweetness of it as well, right? So your mind is just completely overstimulated. And the way to fix this is centering yourself into whole foods. Now think about it. How much less stimulating and how much better of a relationship you'll have with food if you eat whole foods. Let me explain to you. People think that you eating healthy and you restricting or whatever it is you're doing is an unhealthy relationship to food. Oh, you can't have sweets, you can't have this and that. But how is it healthy to be addicted to sugar? To allow food to control your life, to control your mood, to control the way you feel, the way you act, right? Nutrition, the quality of your nutrition is genuinely going to determine how your energy is, how you think, how your mood is, your brain fog, your clarity. So it's not just something about pleasure of eating. It impacts so much more. It impacts how you show up every day. It impacts your energy. It impacts how you show up for others as well. It impacts how much of an example you are, right? Now, when you think about whole foods, you're going to think about like maybe rice, steak, eggs, vegetables, stuff like this, right? Now, what is the one thing that all these things have in common? They are not hyper-palatable. They are one thing. So if you think about it, rice is just rice, okay? There's no crunchy on the outside with creamy on the inside, with salty, with sweet, with this and that. It's just rice. Steak is just chewy. Eggs are just, I don't know what eggs are. They're like kind of like fluffy, I'd say, with the yolk that is creamy, right? But it's a very neutral flavor. You have fruits that are sugary and juicy, and these things are whole foods and they're good for you because they don't cause overstimulation. If you ate rice repetitively, and generally this probably happened to you already, you've probably eaten one meal for a while and you've gotten sick of it. You've gotten sick of its repetition, right? Now think about how much better a relationship like that is. Not necessarily when you're saying that you're never gonna eat. I'm not telling you to never eat sweets again. I eat sweets again. I had ice cream last night. But what I'm saying is you can't let it control your life. Think about how much better your relationship with food would be if most of your foods weren't causing you to get a dopamine spike, weren't causing any sort of stimulation. You weren't associating any sort of comfort when it comes to your food. But instead you started to see it how it is. Your food is simply sustaining. I'm not saying you have to make it non-enjoyable. Listen, I love eating steak. I love eating sweet potato. I love eating rice. I like to make it somewhat flavorful, right? Because you still get to enjoy it. But it's not this hyper-processed, ultra-processed, ultra-palatable, ultra fucking like sugary dopamine spike association to the food. It's just something that, and that's how it is. It's good, it tastes good, but it's not an overstimulation in food, okay? So think about how much better your relationship would be if you started replacing ultra-processed foods, stopped replacing snacks with fruit, with steak, with chicken, with eggs, with rice, with potatoes, with vegetables. Vegetables is something that I'm, iffy, okay? I'm like iffy about it because that's a different topic. But you can I'm not saying that they're bad for you. I'm not saying that, okay, don't eat vegetables. Listen, vegetables are full of fibers, full of minerals, full of vitamins, stuff like this. The way they're cultivated, I don't agree too much with, but I'm also not too deep into that world, so I'm not going to tell you to do one thing or another because I don't do it myself, all right? But what I do myself is I eat whole foods. I prioritize whole foods in my diet, and that is what makes me be the way I am. It's what distances my stimulation of food and dopamine association, of food and dopamine and comfort and pleasure. All right, don't get me wrong, I love eating, but it's different. I'm not addicted to it. It's different. When I was fat, I used to let food literally control my life. The fucking Filipinos, the white chocolate covered Oreos, the white chocolate Filipinos. I used to have the Lays. In Portugal, they're called Lays Camponesas, which is like tomato oniony thing. Oh my god, it is amazing. But that's exactly why I can't have it. Not that I can't have it, but why I shouldn't have it. Because I wasn't controlling when I was having it or not. I was letting it control me. Every time I was bored, I would walk up to the store, I'd get the chips, I'd get the Filipinos, I'd do this and that. I'd go home and I'd only feel good if I was eating that while watching a video. I'd only feel good if I was eating these things that weren't good for me, right? And in consequence, I started to associate that to pleasure, and then I started to get fat. And then what happens is, these things give me pleasure, but they make me fat. And making me fat, me seeing myself fat, leaves me uncomfortable, leaves me feeling shameful, leaves me feeling guilty and insecure. When I feel insecure, when I feel guilty, when I don't feel good about myself, I want to run to pleasure. When I run to pleasure, I eat the cookies. I eat the stuff. When I eat the stuff, it takes me to being fat. And you see how that's a cycle, right? That's a cycle. Now, like I said, I'm going to repeat this one last time. You don't have to remove pleasure from eating completely. Don't get me wrong. You can still make amazing foods, mixed foods that are whole foods, right? That are healthy and are going to help you reach your goal. But it doesn't have to be what is controlling your life. It shouldn't be what is controlling your life. You should be fixing your relationship with food. And right now, your relationship with food is messed up because you're eating overstimulating foods. All right, nutrition, done. Let's move on to your lifestyle. All right, the content you consume. And this has to do with the motivation as well. All right, the content you consume is extremely overstimulating. And that's why if you're watching this video, I know, and you better know now, that you fucking want this bad. Because I'm not going to put much stuff on it. Maybe I'll put a little bit, but not too much stuff on it. All right. This isn't whatsoever a high stimulation video. This is me telling you how it is. And the fact that you're watching this and just listening to me talk is telling you and is showing you right now that you want this shit badly. Because if not, if you just paid attention to hyperstimulation, just like, for example, if you go and take a look at Brian Johnson's video, the one I watched, which is how to fix your life in 8 steps, something like that. And then the thumbnail is him saying lock in. It is hyperstimulative, right? It helps you pay attention because you're looking at it and there's a flash every 2 seconds. There's different scenes, there's different colors, there's different momentums, different music, different this and that. And right now, I want to make sure that you are in the least stimulated environment possible so you get the purity of it. So you see and you understand that this is not mental masturbation, okay? And that's the next point I kind of want to get to, all right? Really quickly, sorry, before going to the mental masturbation, let me talk about the content really quickly. And on that, all right, the content you watch, the Instagram reels, the porn, the everything, gives you a false sensation of pleasure, right? Porn specifically. If you're watching porn, it is ruining your testosterone, your confidence, because you are looking at someone else having relations with a woman that makes it seem like it's you there, gives you that momentary pleasure that it's you there, but you end up just jacking yourself off, and then after that you get your post-nut clarity and you think, fuck, I'm such a loser. I gave into this shit again. Porn is hypersexualizing your brain, and it is hyperstimulating your brain. If you can't even just go a day without wanking, you know something is wrong with you. And I'm not saying it's not fixable, but you have to be aware that there is a problem that needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed. All right? Then you have the doom scrolling. Now, I'm not saying listen, everything I'm telling you right now, I'm telling you from experience, because I've been through it, I've gotten so much better at it, but no way am I perfect. All right? And I can tell you a flaw of mine right now, which I'm actively trying to work on. I love, and you may shame me, whatever, disagree, hope you agree, but I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I love it. It's like my favorite show of all time. I've watched it maybe 10 times already, if not more. Every single night when I go to sleep, I like to watch or have it playing in the back. I've watched it so many times that I don't even need to open my eyes to watch it. I close my eyes and they're saying the stuff and I see it in my head. And that's something that I'm cutting off. Now, I've gone a couple nights already without it. Last night, for example, I watched some. Tonight, I don't want to watch it. So to do that, I'm going to add resistance to it. What does that mean? I'm going to add resistance to the overstimulation of my brain. Since I'm overstimulated, I know that once I have it in my room, I'm going to want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, whether I'm telling myself that I should do it or not. All right? I know I'm going to watch it. That's just how it is. Right now, I don't have the control over myself to be able to not watch it if I have the opportunity to do it. So what I'm going to do is, until I have the option to say yes or no, until I'm secure that I am in control of it, just like the food, I'm going to leave it downstairs locked in the office so that I don't have it up with me and I'm not going to watch it. I don't have Netflix on my phone, so I can't watch it on my phone. My phone stays away from my bed so that when I wake up in the morning, I actually have to get up to turn off my alarm and I don't have the temptation to stay back in bed. All right. So everything I'm telling you right now is stuff that I'm doing myself. I'm destimulating myself. All right. Now, the last thing is the motivation. If you're watching this video and you're getting a bunch of motivation, like, okay, I can do this, yeah, but nothing changes, that's your exact problem. You're listening to motivation rather than to reason and to actual actionable steps. You are contenting yourself with the fact that you feel motivated right now. It gives you a moment of pleasure without actually having to do anything. It gives you a sensation of accomplishment. So if you're watching this video and you're feeling motivated, stop right now. And I'm not joking. Stop right now. Calm yourself down. Think. Rationalize. Don't feel motivated. Don't let your emotion go up. And then come back to the video and learn. Rather than watching this, being like, okay, I know I have to destimulate my food, destimulate my content, my brain, stop watching porn, stop watching reels, stop this and that. And I have to stop watching motivational videos. And you're just like, okay, this is what I have to do, but you don't actually take action. All right? If there's one thing you actually take out of this video, let it be this. And that thing is, choose one small thing that you want to work on out of these things that I've just told you about. And focus on it. Do it. It can be the smallest thing ever. Like turning off your phone when you've watched a 10-minute video and going to do 5 push-ups. I don't know. Anything. Or like I'm doing, leaving your computer or your phone or your iPad, or you're taking your TV off your room. Whatever it is. Alright? Focus on one small thing and do it, whether you want to, whether you don't want to, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're motivated, whether you're not motivated, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, whether your mom's screaming at you, whether your girlfriend is, cheering you on. If you have a girlfriend, listen, brother. If not, I'm there too, alright? Now, in all seriousness, you have the number one problem is that the environment that we have right now is so stimulating. It doesn't allow you to properly, doesn't allow you to actually make a decision by yourself. And that's where your responsibility leaves the room. But right now, the fact that you're watching this video and I'm actively telling you that your environment is like this and you have to prepare for it, now the responsibility is back in your hands. Now the ball is back in your court. And you have to decide, do I actually want this? Am I just watching this video because I want to mentally masturbate? Because I want to watch this and feel some sort of accomplishment, like, okay, I watched this video, now I know what I have to do, but you never actually take action? I'd rather you ignore whatever the fuck else I'm saying. Just pick one small piece of my video and actually take steps on it, than not. Okay? So, I really hope you understand that the overstimulation in your environment, in your mindset, in your food, in your phone, in your pleasure is what is messing you up. It is literally frying your dopamine receptors. And everything you do is based on dopamine, because everything is weighed in a reward system. It is weighed in what am I going to give and what am I going to get back. Alright? And that all has to do with the dopamine you get. Now you have fake dopamine, which is the one you're getting from the momentary pleasure, so from the food and from the reels and from the porn and from the motivation. And you have the real dopamine, which is coming from accomplishment, which is coming from doing hard things. If you never do hard things and you never get comfortable with the fact that you have to be uncomfortable, and I cannot tell this anymore. I cannot tell you this anymore. I cannot say this more times. I cannot say this enough. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I've been an athlete for as long as I can remember, basically. Now, I wasn't a good one until I got comfortable with being uncomfortable. When I got comfortable with being uncomfortable, I was called to the national team. I went to Italy to play. I did shit that I didn't know that I could do, just because I was okay with the fact that I was uncomfortable. Alright? I'm in Bali, living the dream that 6 months ago I told myself I was going to live, because I was comfortable with the fact that I was going to move to Bali with nothing but a one-way ticket and 600 euros in my bank account. Literally not knowing if I was going to be able to pay rent for the next month. With 1,900 followers in my account. Not knowing if people actually gave a fuck about what I was doing. Not genuinely. After 2-3 months of coaching, I just moved to fucking Bali. Just because I was able to build through the gym, through my athletic career, through other little moments, build the confidence to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation and trust myself to pull it off. So if there's one thing you have to focus on most, is mastering being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation and resetting your dopamine systems for a reward system and getting the actual dopamine from doing hard things and accomplishments rather than from a momentary pleasure. All right. Now, if you feel like this is still too complicated for you, text me on Instagram or book a call. Let's see exactly what it is you're struggling with and how it is that we can actually structure your life and structure your routine so that it is less stimulating and you actually get the help that you need. Right? Because it's okay to get help. It's part of it. I got help when I was in the gym and I was overstimulated with so much shit. I got help when I was overstimulated by all the information that was on Instagram about coaching. I got a mentor to break everything down in simple terms. Right? So it is important to get help and recognize. And that's part of the reward system as well, is breaking your ego and seeing that, okay, I'm gonna like, this is too hard for me to handle right now. Let me get someone to help me build the building blocks, and then I can move forward from there. Right? So with that said, shoot me a DM on @itsmarcofontat on Instagram, or book a call in the link that I'm gonna leave down here. All right. With that said, lads, have a good day. Destimulate your brain, your phone, add resistance to stimulation to your food, to your reels, to porn, to motivation. All right, and do hard things and get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'll see you boys in the next fucking video.